Greetings, Doc Ock here at noon and 9. Ready for another round. Here we go one more time. Today's proverb is, hungry rooster don't cackle when he find a worm. Hungry rooster don't cackle when he find a worm. Yeah, that's right, a worm. It's a plantation proverb. Now, let's see, what's the black fact for today? Was Larry Doby the player in the American League or the National League? That's it. That is the question. Was he the first player? American League or the National League? See what you think. Come up with an answer. Meanwhile, moving on, let's go ahead and tell our story. And the story for today is Sundjata, the Lion King. Now, you see it spelled here on the cover of this beautifully illustrated book with an I. Sundjata, it looks like. But it really should be a J because it should be Sundjata. Sundjata. You know, like I have a friend who's named Jean-Marie Giata. Okay, and you can spell it with an I, but Americans don't know how to say it with an I. So if you spell it with a J, we'll get a little bit closer. If you think of it as having a J there, you get a little closer to the actual pronunciation, Sundjata, as opposed to Sundjata. I don't know who that is. That's some guy. Somebody else. All right, now let's see what we got here. Sundjata, the Lion King of Mali. Oh, I forgot that part on the title. Sundjata, Lion King of Mali. And as I said, the book is very beautifully illustrated. It's got all kinds of lovely illustrations all throughout the whole book. And it all starts under the baobab tree. See the baobab tree? Looks like a real spindly tree. I've never seen one with a whole bunch of leaves on it. Usually I see it like that, and I wonder, well, how does it grow and it has no leaves? So I don't know, but I know it's a huge tree, and it's all, you find it all over Africa, and it'll become hollow in the center, and then it'll catch rain, and so you can go down there in there with a bucket. It's like, becomes like a well. So it's a very important tree. Listen to me, children of the bright country, and hear the great deeds of ages past. The words I speak are those of my father and his father before him, pure and full of truth, for we are the Jawel. Centuries of law and learning reside within our minds. Thus we serve kings with the wisdom of history, bringing to life the lessons of the past so that the future may flourish. Listen then to the story of Sundjata, the Lion King, who overcame all things to walk with greatness. As the lion rules the savannah with power and grace, so did Maghan Konfata rule Mali. One day, 2 hunters approached his throne. Between them walked a maiden, hunchbacked and ill-favored. King Maghan caught his breath, for such a visit had been foretold. Great king, said the hunters, we come from the land of Do, where a terrible buffalo ravaged the countryside. We slew it, and in gratitude, the king of Do bade us bring this damsel to you. Her name is Sogalan Keju. Though homely, she is said to possess the very spirit of that buffalo, strong and courageous. Of such spirits, great things are born, whispered Maghan's Jawel. The son of lion and buffalo will be mighty indeed. So advised the king wed Sogalan and grew to love her. The next year, Sogalan gave birth to a boy. All rejoiced except Sasuma Berete, the first wife of the king. Maghan already has my fine son as his heir, she muttered bitterly. What need has he of another? especially from this hideous woman. But the new prince, Sundjata, though blessed by the spirits of buffalo and lion, proved unable to speak or walk. At this, Sasuma Berete rejoiced. For 7 years, Sogalan tried in vain to heal her son with potions and herbs. Sundjata dragged himself through the palace, ignored by some, ridiculed by others. His mother was heartbroken and his father despaired. How small the seed from which a great tree springs, counseled the king's Jawel, and what storms the first sprout endures. Sundjata will, oh, shucks, come on now. Don't do that. Oh, no. Okay, my live feed just dropped. Let me see if I can get it to return here. Possibly. Let's see. Okay, gonna do that. Put an S there. Okay. Oh, it's not gonna remember any of that. Okay, there. All right, now, sorry about that. See if we can get that live feedback. Okay. Now, where was I at? Sundjata will grow in his own time, not yours, great king. The next day, Magan ordered his son brought before him. My time grows short, Sundjata, he said. Now I must present the gift that each king gives his heir. A young man stepped forward. This is Bala Faseke, the king continued. As his father has been my Jawel, so will he be yours. From him, you will learn the history of our ancestors and the law of this life. May your destiny be fulfilled, my son. Sundjata sat up slowly, motioned Bala Faseke to his side, and spoke his first words. Bala, you are my Jawel? Magan's doubts disappeared, and he prepared Sundjata to rule. But when Magan Konfata died, the council of elders paid no attention to his wishes. Instead, they allowed the son of Sasuma Berete to ascend the throne. Oh my goodness. I have another failure over here. Okay, what kind of day is this? That one failed too. Okay. Filled with pride, Sasuma lost no time in taunting Sundjata's mother. It would seem that a walking boy is better than a crawling lion. Seeing Sogalan's tears, Sundjata summoned Bala Faseke. Go to the master smith, he ordered, and fetch me an iron rod. When Bala returned, Sundjata seized the rod with both hands, thrust it into the ground, and raised himself to his knees. Then, with a mighty effort, he pulled himself to his feet. The iron rod fell away, bent with strain, and Sundjata stood alone. A crowd gathered in amazement as Sundjata took a step, then another, and another. Make way, cried Bala Faseke. The lion is walking. When Sasuma Berete heard of Sundjata's new strength, she feared he would challenge her son for the throne. Late one night, she called the 9 great witches of Mali to her bedside. You must use your powers to kill Sundjata, she commanded. Our magic is useless without his anger, said the witches. Go to his mother's garden and pick her spices, hissed Sasuma. That will surely make him angry enough. But when Sundjata found the witches in his mother's garden, he greeted them courteously and helped them gather the spices. Alas, queen, the witches reported, our magic cannot hurt a heart full of kindness. You can do nothing against him. So Sasuma Berete bided her time. When Sundjata was 10 years old, she had Bala Faseke sent away to the court of Soso. This evil land was ruled by Sumanguru, a sorcerer king whose huge armies and powerful magic were greatly feared. Impressed by the young Jawel's skill, Sumanguru resolved to keep him in Soso forever. Sundjata was angered and saddened by the loss of his friend, and Sogolon's wise words brought new pain. We must leave Mali, she said, before our kin fall victim to the queen's hatred. But when you are a man, you will return and set all things right. Sundjata reluctantly agreed. That evening, Sogolon and her child left all that they knew and loved. For 7 years, the family traveled the harsh road of exile, journeying through forest and plain from kingdom to kingdom. Rulers, full of the queen's displeasure, denied them shelter, and some gates were closed against them. Yet Sundjata grew in mind and spirit, even as his body grew in stature and strength. In all these trials, Sundjata never forgot Bala Faseke. At every court and caravan, he heard of the growing power of Sumanguru and of the unhappy lands under his control. The family ended their travels in the city of Mema. Weary and ill, Sogolon rested by the banks of the Niger. Sundjata found favor with the king of Mema, who took him on campaigns against the mountain tribes that troubled his kingdom. Observing Sundjata's courage and leadership, he decided to make the young prince his heir. He taught Sundjata the ways of war and government and looked upon him as a son. One day, frantic messengers pleaded to speak with Sundjata. Son of lion and buffalo, they implored, return to your homeland. Whatever honors you hold in Mema, leave them and deliver your land from fire and sword. What has happened? Asked Sundjata. Sumanguru has invaded Mali, they said. The king and his mother have fled. Our people have taken to the bush to fight, but they are leaderless. We have consulted the seers, and they say that only you can save Mali. The throne of your father awaits you. The moment has come, my son, whispered Sogolon. Your destiny is about to be fulfilled. Sundjata lost no time. The king of Mema gave him half his army, rank upon rank of armored horsemen, carrying great iron spears. Riding at the head of his column, Sundjata stopped at every kingdom that had aided him during his long exile and gathered more troops. Soon a mighty host covered the savannah, and the thunder of hooves could be heard many miles away. The two armies clashed on the plain of Kirina. All day the battle raged. Astride his gray charger, Sundjata galloped through the fray, searching for Sumanguru. All right, Mr. Bailey, I see you over there now. And Aisha. Suddenly, Bala Faseke was at Sundjata's side. The two friends embraced. I escaped from the palace and followed Sumanguru's army, hoping to find you, said Bala. For these 7 years, I have pretended allegiance to the sorcerer, and I have managed to discover his weakness. He pulled a wooden arrow from his robe. It was tipped with the spur of a white rooster. This is the Tana of Sumanguru, Bala continued. The charm he believes will erase his power. The slightest touch will defeat him utterly. Sundjata took the arrow and spurred his horse back into battle. He made his way through the dust and confusion to the hill where the sorcerer stood. Notching the arrow, he drew his mighty bow and let it fly. The arrow flew straight and true, cutting through Sumanguru's cape and grazing his shoulder. At the sight of the Tana, the sorcerer let out a harsh cry and galloped from the field. Pursued by Sundjata and Bala Faseke, Sumanguru fled to the slopes of Mount Kulikoro and staggered into a dark cave. Powers of night, he cried, do not let me fall into the hands of Sundjata. It is said that Sumanguru then became one with the stone of the cave, for he was never in. Disheartened by his flight, the sorcerer's army went down to defeat. Yes, they suffered the agony of defeat. Sundjata returned in glory to Mali. Crowds lined the road the entire journey, shouting his praise. The 12 kings who had him in exile and in battle waited at his throne. As Sundjata sat, they drove their spears into the ground before him, swearing allegiance forever. Sundjata spoke softly, and Balafaseke conveyed his words to the multitude. Hatred drove me from this land, he said, because of what I seem to be, a crawling child, unworthy of respect and unfit to rule. Mali has suffered great hardship as a result. Now I return as your king. Henceforth, none shall interfere with another's destiny. You, your children, and your children's children shall find their appointed place within this land forever. This came to pass, and Sundjata, the Lion King, ruled the bright country for many golden years. So, I may not have said this earlier, but we are in a process of transition. We're transitioning from our previous topic, which was African Black people. We called it Black West. Okay, we called it Black West, and it was all about Black folks on the Western frontier, primarily of America. And so now we're transitioning to adventurers who went on adventures. So I didn't show you this part, but I'm going to show you this part real quick. In the front of this book, there's a map that shows the travels of the journey of, where did it go? It shows, here it is. It shows the journey of Sundjata and his mother. So you see the red line. That was when they were exiled from Niani, is where they started. That Niani is the capital over here, is Niani. And then all these other places, these yellow lines, those are places that they went on that was their return. That was the path they took to return. And then you see the battle areas on here also, these where the crossed spears are. So nicely told story. Obviously, it only took 10 minutes or so to read it, a little bit more actually, but not too long, and well illustrated. So good story, good story. Now, like I said, so we're transitioning to talking about African adventurers. So that includes anybody who has left the area that they are most familiar with, whether it's their birthplace, the home they're living in most of their lives, whatever, but they leave, they go out, and they go somewhere, they go out into the unknown. So that's what we're calling adventurers. And in this case, Sundjata and his mother could definitely be called adventurers because they had to journey out into the unknown, not really knowing exactly where they were going. They just knew they had to go for their own safety. So all you little children out there, it's way past time for you to lay down your little heads on your little pillows on your little beds, close those your eyes and wait for that sun to rise. And when you see that sun and feel those sunbeams, that sunlight hitting you on your eyes and turning your eyelids all red inside, that's when it'll be time for you to rise and face the new day and be ready for whatever may come. As for you adults, you already know what to do. Go ahead, make your donations below. You can use the link below on Facebook. You can give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're seeing this on YouTube. You can also give us a like on Facebook. You can go to our website at blackfacts.org, www.blackfacts.org, and you can make a donation there at our donation page through GoFundMe, or you can just send a donation direct right through PayPal to kkhemet@gmail.com. And you see behind me some of the books we're going to be featuring for the rest of the month. We're going to be talking about the people out there on the oceans, on ships, traveling across the oceans, traveling down rivers. We're going to talk about people traveling by land from coast to coast across the USA, walking across the USA. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of adventures in African adventures in all parts of the world. So be on the lookout, be here, or have fear. Make sure you don't miss what we're going to be doing right here for the next month from the 1st to the 31st. And we look forward to seeing you, as well as all our friends out there in live stream land. We appreciate everybody's support in whatever way you can support us. Thank you very much. And right now it's time for Doc Ock at noon and 9 to sign on out. But I will be black here tomorrow. Hopefully you will be too at noon straight up. See you then.